Hi there, I'm Tracy and we are back with So Fun this month. So this year we have been doing themes every month, color themes, and today we're doing 30s fabric instead of an actual color. So still a theme, but all the different 30s fabrics. I love all of that stuff, and I had a really large stash of it I wanted to use up. So I think I did a good job with it this time. So we're going to start with this book. It's called Make It Mini. It's got 13 different projects you can make with scraps and some hand embroidery. I did a little bit of hand embroidery, and then I also did some machine embroidery. So you can tell by all these little papers in this book, there's a lot of projects in here I wanted to make. I narrowed it down to 2. The first one I did is a cute little wall hanging. This is not 30s fabric, it's just some yellow stuff I had in my stash. I actually did the flowers with ribbon embroidery, and then I had some other really cool threads in there. So I did all my flowers on this by hand, which was kind of cool. I haven't done that in a long time. So it's kind of cool, nice to do. I put a little sleeve on the back so I can hang it up, but I think it turned out really cute and it went really fast. I didn't do any quilting except for around the vase, but I think it turned out just adorable. And then the other project I made from this book is this nice little table runner. So all of these flying geese blocks, all the different sizes and stuff, I think was really cute. I did this embroidery on my icon. I don't remember what design it was. It was just one I had in my stash of designs on the computer, so I have no clue where the design came from. But pulled out all the colors out of my flying geese blocks, and I think it turned out really cute. It would have been nice if it had gone this way and I could have turned this upside down, because then I could hang it that way, but I could also hang it this way. But it'll make a nice little table runner, or you can hang it up either way. But I think it turned out really great. I love all the different sizes of the flying geese, and it just turned out really cute. The quilting that I did on it was just in between the big blocks, so not a lot on there, and little scraps of fabric and not much time to make it. So that's always a bonus. This next project that I have is called Mom and Me Aprons by Atkinson's Designs. These are just so cute. They went together really well, and I thought aprons were a perfect thing for the 30s fabric. They are lined, have a nice big pocket here. Didn't take much time to do. I did kind of change it up a little when I was making these. I just kind of made the whole apron, lined it, turned it inside out from the top, zigzagged across the top of this before I put this little flap on. So the flap to the back, turned it over and top stitched it down. Instead of having to turn it inside out and top stitch all the way around it, I just did that. Much faster, a little easier to do. And I think it turned out really cute. I also have the big mom size version also. So this is the child size, there's a toddler size, and then mom size. But I think it turned out really cute. I love these fabrics. These buttons are the exact perfect color, and I got them at Wooden Spools. They were 20 cents a piece. So that's probably the cheapest I've ever gotten out of a store. It was like 44 cents for 2 little buttons. Cheapest I've ever come out of a fabric store. So this next project is also by Atkinson's Designs. It's called Merry-Go-Round. So I've never done hexies before. I know everybody loves them. I'm like, it's handwork. I don't want to deal with handwork. I don't want to do hexies. They're kind of addictive. Handwork is not as bad as you would think it would be. These guys are not by hand. I did them all on the machine. These are all, again, scraps. You sew a little triangle here, and then you just have a seam together. So really fast, quick to do. I actually did the quilting on my icon. I didn't put this on the quilt frame, which I usually do. But I think it just turned out really cute. Totally all scraps, even the back was different scraps. And just love the way it turned out. But it's the Merry-Go-Round by Atkinson's Designs. To do that project, I used this Creative Grids hexagon trim tool. So I also use it in another quilt I have here. There's lots of different lines all over this. You need your half square triangles here for making your hexies and joining them. It's kind of hard to keep track of what you're doing, so I just put this glow line tape on the ruler where I was cutting my hexes, and it just helps line everything up so you know what you're doing, keeping it straight. But this is a great little ruler. I love the Creative Grids rulers. They have this sticky stuff on the back so they don't slide around when you're cutting out your stuff, and just a great little ruler. Then this next project is this hexie pillow. These hexes I started when we were on vacation. We took a road trip down south to Georgia and the Carolinas and stuff. So I had the little pieces of cardboard that you fold your hexes onto, use a glue stick, glue them down, then you sew them together. I was on vacation. I didn't remember what the pattern looked like. I couldn't remember the name of it to look it up. So I sewed all these rows of hexes together by hand. Actually was really kind of cool and very relaxing. Then I get home, look at the pattern. They don't do them by hand. They just glued them down onto this pillow front and sewed them down on all the points. I'm like, well, that's a whole lot easier. So I did that. I made it a little bit bigger than theirs. And we have a new sashiko, I'm not sure how you say it, sashiko machine at the store. So I used that to make it look like I did all the quilting by hand, and that's how you sew these down. So I have a layer of 987 fusible fleece underneath the pillow front to give it a little bit of poofiness, very little bit of poofiness. Glued all of these hexes down, and then just did the sashiko machine quilting on it. So I think it turned out pretty cute. Sashiko quilting takes a little while to do, but any quilting takes a little while to do, and it was still much faster than doing it by hand, but I love how it turned out. So this next project is the Kimberbell Pretty and Posh zipper pouches. These guys are adorable. They went together easily for a zipper pouch project. There's 4 different ones. I made 3 of them. And there's 3 different sizes, big one, medium, and small. So this one fits in a 5x7 hoop. This one was an 8x8, and this one was a really large hoop on the Icon or the Luminaire or the Solaris. Or the Janome also has a big hoop for like that. So this one says, when you look it up, when you put it in your machine, it says it takes 11 minutes to sew. That counts stitching time. That does not count taping down your zipper, taping down your batting, taping down your fabric, all of that. So 11 minutes to sew is totally a misnomer. It took really about probably 45 minutes to make this little guy, but it's just adorable. It's totally made in the hoop, all 3 of them. And then we ordered in these Pretty and Posh accessories. So it comes with the zippers, the little tassels, and the little like decorations here for the front of the bags. So you can do that. Also, it comes with all the zippers here, all these pretty little colors that are just adorable and look great with these 30s fabrics. So these actually went so quick to make. I actually made 2 sets already, gave them away as gifts. Then I had to make some more up for So Fun. So they're not a fast project, but they're just adorable. They're Kimberbell, so you know they're going to be cute. And I love all the quilting that's done on the hoop in it, but just love these little things. So I'll have to get some more made. So this next project is stuck. There. It's called Welcome Friend by Bird Brain Designs. Bird Brain Designs has designs that are either in the hoop or by hand. I definitely chose the one to do in the hoop. I just had this hanger at home, which was kind of convenient. This took about 30 minutes to sew, but I literally put all the colors on my tin needle, ran to the store, picked up something, ran back home, and it was all done. So great way to do it on a tin needle. It's only like 7 or 8 colors on here. Then I just did some straight line quilting, added a border. I did my border a little bit different than they did theirs on the picture. I love how theirs looks very old and like kind of like from the Civil War fabrics, but I went with, again, all the 30s fabrics on the front. And I think it turned out really cute, really fast little project. That's always a good thing. So then we have these cute aprons, more retro aprons by Cindy Taylor Oates. I made a couple of aprons out of here. I'm only showing you one because we only have one dress for them. The aprons are all lined. So let me get that for you. So the aprons are lined. Just did some solid colors on the back like the 30s fabric would have. This blue is not really a 30s sort of thing, but I think it really looks cute on it. This one was probably the longest to make. It takes the longest to make out of the whole book. It's got a lot more detail than some of the others do, but I think it turned out really cute. It was very easy to make. I did a rolled hem on the ruffle on the bottom, so I didn't have to like fold it over and hem it and all that. Just did a rolled hem on my serger. I did sew the whole thing up on my serger. You turn it inside out and then finish it up. But I like how it turned out. I love this fabric. It's one of my favorites from my 30s stuff. But I made 2 of the quilts out of here. The others will be at the store when you come see them. So this next project is the Siesta Fiesta by Annie's. I love her stuff. We do so many of her books, but I thought this was really cool. It's like a little roll-up thing to take to the beach with you. So look at how cool this is. Has a big strap so you can carry it. Kind of like a yoga mat, sort of. They have you make it with just a couple layers of cotton and use soft and stable inside it. I used laminated cotton instead. And I went with this twill fabric, which I thought was cute, and I looked it up. It's not from 1930s. It's more like from late 1700s, but still old fabric. I wanted to use terry cloth inside. I'm not one to order fabric online. I love going shopping. I want to find fabric at the stores near us so I can keep them in business. No one had terry cloth. So I was talking to the girls, where can you get terry cloth? And they're like, why don't you just use a towel? I'm like, duh. So ran to all these different stores trying to find red towels. Finally, Kohl's had them. So I used 1 bath sheet for the whole thing. And then I used, it's upside down, for this little pillow part, I used a towel. And I can get 2 towels, or 2 pillows out of 1 regular size towel. So it has the handle here. This buttons off and on, and it just rolls up. So you can take this to the beach, lay on it, have a pillow. That's always the thing about the beach. Your head's just there, you need a pillow. So you have a pillow on here. It's with a towel, so it's gonna be nice and cushy on you. This is gonna keep you kind of dry and not have sand everywhere. I think it just turned out awesome. I love this thing. Took a little while to make, but it wasn't hard. The worst part is, since I've used the toile on the back, the directional fabric, I had to make sure everything went the right way. So I had to kind of not follow the directions to get all of this to figure, or I followed the directions but did not do it in order to figure out, to make sure I got the pillow at the top. But it was really quick to make. Sewing through this was a breeze. I didn't change anything, I just sewed through it. And the pillow, I did have to make my own pillow, but that's no biggie. It has a zipper here, and you make your own pillow, so you can take the pillow out and wash the whole thing. But I love this thing, so it'll be going to the beach with me next time I go to California. I'm sure this will fit in a suitcase very well somehow. But I can't wait to use it. So the next thing we have is just the quilts. Oh no, we have this quilt here. This is from the book ABC 123, and it's a book on tumbling blocks. And I love the tumbling block look of quilts, but I've never made one because it's always like you have to get the right colors, the right fabric and everything. So I thought, well, how will it do with 30s fabric? So I think it did pretty well. So I have my 30s fabric here. This is a solid. This would have matched the 30s fabric. And then this is a everyday thing. They would not have had blender fabrics in the 30s. But I think it turned out really well. It gives a quilt a lot of dimension this way. You use a 60-degree ruler with this book for the ABC 1, 2, 3 quilting tumbling blocks book, and use a 60-degree ruler. And in the book, on the back page, it shows you, it has like a template of how big your pieces are supposed to be when you make these, so you make sure you're cutting the right size. So that was very helpful. And with this book, since there's no Y seams in this quilt. They're half square triangles, basically, kind of sewn together. But it did not take as much, it was not as brain numbing as I thought it might be. And I think it turned out really cute, so that's always a plus. But I really like the quilt, and it'll be a great little baby quilt for somebody that has a baby in it soon for us. So the next thing we have behind us is, let's start with this one on the end. It's by the Cut Loose Press. It is all hexes also. Hexes are a really big thing in the 30s. But they're sewn in rows, no Y seams or anything. I used the hexagon trim tool again. It sticks so hard you can't even pick it up very well. So all the blocks are made with this. You sew strips, you cut out a half hexie this size, and then you sew edges around it. Went together really easy. You just have to make sure you lay it out right. I was not paying attention. I have a whole lot of yellow in that quilt, which is fine. It's going in a room that has yellow walls, but it has a whole lot of yellow in that quilt. But I think it looks great. I love yellow, so it's okay. But I love this tool. It makes it really easy to make the quilt. And the pattern has great directions on it. It's one of the Cut Loose Press patterns, so it doesn't cost a lot. You can make it into a table runner or whatever. And then I did diagonal quilting on that. So I laid it on my quilt frame. You pin just the corner and the corner on the end. So it's a little hard to roll, but I think the diagonal lines looked really cute on it. I was thinking it'd be a 45-degree angle quilting. Those are 60-degree angle lines. So nothing lined up like I thought it would, but I think it still looked great, and I love the way it looks diagonally. So then this quilt is called May's Bouquet, and it's this guy here. These are all done with Y seams. And I did that so I could say I've done some finally. It wasn't as bad as I thought. They don't really give you, they have great directions, and it just says sew together, which, you know, it's easier to do it in strips. And I tried all sorts of different ways. I tried sewing each hexie together. I sewed one row and then sew each hexie into this section by itself. That took a little while, which obviously it would. Then I also tried sewing, I did this row and then I sewed this row and tried sewing just each all the way around. That worked, but I was sewing it, if you sew it upside down, so the row that you're gonna sew on goes on top, the row that you already had sewed together goes on the bottom, and it worked really well. It went together really fast. I'm putting this on a daybed, so they have directions on here for baby size, twin, queen, or king. I'm putting it on a daybed. So to make the baby size, you just basically make it down to here. The way the daybed is, you know, how it just only shows on the front, it looked like I just got tired of making hexies and cut it off and just, you're supposed to sew a border on there, and I didn't like that look. So I just made another flower, put it down at the end, and had to do a little bit more math, cut some more fabric up, and I think it turned out really cute. The thing that went wrong with this quilt, like so wrong, I used wool batting, which is great. It gives it puffiness and everything. It looks really cute. Wool batting is very yellowish, and I had white fabric. So I started doing my binding, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't the same fabric. So I went back into the store, which is our store, and I'm like, I picked up a different fabric. I need binding fabric. And I'm looking, I'm like, no, this is white. It looks so much different with the yellowish of the wool batting behind it. The white binding was just like, woohoo, look at me. So changed plans, and I went with the Susan K. Cleveland Piping Hot Binding Tool, and this worked amazing. So the point of this is when you're making binding or piping to go around things, you make your piping a little bit wider so it's easier to sew on. Also, when you're doing piping, it needs to be on the bias. But then you have your piping is this wide, but your seam allowance is only, much smaller. So this has a groove on it. You put your piping in that groove, and it cuts your piping, your seam allowance down to 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. So then I'm looking through the book, and there's a way, we've done piped binding before for quilts. They actually do piped binding. So this is piping in here, and then you fold it to the back and you sew it on by hand with regular binding. I thought that was amazing. I think it looks really, really cool. With the piping here on the edge, you don't see that the yellow batting kind of did not show or makes the white binding look bad. So the size of the piping that I used is this. It's 3/8 inch piping. And I think it just turned out really cool. I love this look. So you can always punt, change plans, and fix something that you didn't know was going to not turn out well. So then my last quilt, I think is kind of my favorite, is this Garden Gate quilt. It's by Fig Tree Quilt. I love her stuff. This did not take long to make. I couldn't do all of this in 30s fabric. I just wanted to do a little bit more non-30 stuff. So we've had this fabric at our store. It's that shiny stuff from Maywood Studios. So these are 30s fabrics. It takes, I cut mine out of fat quarters. You could use a layer cake and 2 charm packs to do the same effect. The polka dots here are not 30s fabric, but that's okay too. And then I just did the binding all by hand. It was really easy to make, not hard at all. It's just basically a big square with these on the sides, half square triangles here and here. So it went together pretty quickly. And I just quilted it really easy, wavy lines. I think it turned out really nice. I just love the look of the 30s fabric, but then you got a little pop of modern stuff in it too. So I just think it turned out really cute, but I think it's my new favorite quilt. So on this quilt, I did regular binding or faced binding on it all the way around. So it's a little bit different way to do your binding also. So that's all we have for you this month. Hope you enjoyed it. You can stop by the store, see the samples in person, and pick up some of the patterns and accessories that we use. And we will see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.